meet Donna Adelson from Coral Springs, Florida. I want to hear all about you, Donna. Let's go.
Well, I'm a domestic coordinator.
A domestic coordinator?
Yes. I'm responsible for the activities, classes, and lessons of my son Robert, who is 16, Charlie, who is 12, Wendy, who is 10, my husband Harvey, who's in the audience, and my dog Sam.
All right. And how old is Sam?
5.
5. Well, good. Give him our best. Nice to have you here. And this vowels word nothing. Consonants are going to be words. Can we get 800? We can. All right. So I'm writing on this. Again, person is a category. Stu, still your turn. Letter, please. L. No L. Donna.
M.
Yes, there are 2 M's. Let them come up. You have 5 seconds. Person. Alan. K. Yes, K.
Mustard maker.
Nope, still
Mustard
time.
maker.
Stu.
H, please.
Yes, there's 1 H. Time starts now. Person. Donna.
F.
Yes.
Mischief maker.
Yeah, that's.
Nice.
You are listening to the Roberta Glass True Crime Report, putting the true back in true crime. From New York City, Roberta Glass is now on the record.
Okay, it is my pleasure to have on Patty from Patty's Playhouse. She is in the courtroom in Donna Adelson's trial. Welcome, Patty.
Hi, Roberta. How's it going?
So what's it like it's going well. What's it like in the courtroom? What aren't we seeing?
What aren't you seeing? Well, you're not seeing the jurors.
Oh, yeah. What's the juror makeup? What does the jury look like? Are they old? Are they young? Racially, how do they make up?
Hold on, I'll tell you. I have it saved. Hold on. It is, they originally said 15, but it's 14. 8 men, 6 women. So in the back, I'm going to go back row, left to right. Okay. So black middle-aged woman, white middle-aged woman. The black middle-aged woman is the woman, you didn't see her, but during the juror voir dire, she had a mask on and the judge jokes, "Are you contagious?" Okay. So she is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
She's in seat 15. And if you recall from Charlie's, seat 15 or seat 14 in this case, seat 14 is an alternate. So my guess is she will be an alternate, although she doesn't know it yet. So, or shouldn't know it. Then there's a younger white woman, blonde hair. I don't think she's middle-aged, but that's how she's described in the news. Then another white middle-aged woman. She is a business owner in town. She, during the voir dire, she announces 2 businesses. And she's definitely younger than me and wears her hair in a bun, very tight. So she doesn't smile a lot. I saw her out at lunch. She doesn't flinch. Her job, the one business she owns, is like a repo. She's serious. She's a serious woman.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Then a Hispanic middle-aged woman, 40-year-old male, 55-year-old white male. See, I thought that woman was a lot older than 55. I am so sorry, dear. She's the retired widow. And she sits in, if you're looking at the jury box, the farthest right, where she looks, I mean, obviously she's widowed. She probably had a hard life, but far older than me. Then you have the 40-year-old black man. African-American man. He's the one that had 2 murders in his family.
Okay.
That he talks about, which I can't believe he got through. Like,
I can't either. Yeah.
I was always, but you only get 10 strikes. Then a 35-year-old white woman, a 30-year-old white male, then a 60-year-old white male, and I believe he is the one that had the brother who gave his identity. So,
okay.
And
he got on. The one whose brother he was falsely arrested, and his brother stole his identity.
Really shocked he's on too.
I liked him. I liked him just the way he was talking.
And he really pay. I mean, they all really pay attention. That's very true. So then you have a 45-year-old white bearded and ponytailed male. I didn't see it as that, but 25-year-old white male and a 40-year-old beer wearing a hood. Yeah, wears a hoodie. I can't believe they're saying that guy. So there's a guy who was a city worker. They're saying he's like 30. It's hard to believe. But anyway, I'm really surprised the man who had the 2 murders is on. And then the man who is his brother stole his identity and he was arrested on behalf of his brother. So that's the makeup of it. So it's 8 men, 6 women. I believe there's 2 women in the back row, if they still do it the same, which who knows how they're going to do it, are the alternates. And if that's the case, going back into deliberation when it's time, it'll be 8-4. 8 men to 4 women.
Interesting. Do you think that men are going to be more sympathetic towards Donna than women?
I don't. First, let me say this. It's only been 1 day, and I don't see anything. So there's the man who's sitting next to the 50-year-old white woman. So he's one to her right. So you're looking at it, it's to her left. He's a civil engineer. And when they were showing the autopsy photos, and I always call him poor Dan with the bullets in his head, he was grimacing. He was like, ooh. He was the only one that made a face about it.
Well, he's not the only one, because I wanted to go over this clip with you because it was a short testimony from Dr. Clark, but Donna was making a lot of faces in the courtroom. Let's take a look at that. So of course I was going to ask you about Harvey. We'll get back to him, but here's Dr. Clark's testimony. I sped it up just a tiny tad. He talks. I couldn't speed it up any faster because he talks very, very quickly.
Etc.
Here's his testimony.
And this X-ray, this is an X-ray of the head. You can see the top of the head here, the jaw, right side, left side, and these really bright spots here and here are the bullets that we recovered for this individual. They come out very dense. The X-rays bounce off and turn them white here, just like bone. It's fairly dense. These are the bullets here. Here.
Published states 26, please. How many bullets were in Mr. Markel's head?
There were 2 bullets in his head, and you can see on this one here that hit the left cheek, actually fragmented a little bit. And then we had a bullet inside the head, back to the left side, right side.
States 27. What are we looking at here, doctor?
This is actually the identification photograph of the individual. We like to get them cleaned up. We'll put the identifying tag underneath their chin, the case number, the date, and usually my initials. And you can see that there has been quite a bit of damage here, particularly in the left side of the face. We have a gunshot wound here that's labeled number 1 in the autopsy report. And this is number 2, labeled number 2 in the autopsy report.
So we got the first face of the day from Donna. Your comments, Patty?
Well, I obviously couldn't see her except through your chat. So I could see the, however you're streaming it from Law and Crime Report TV or whoever. But I could only see her from the back, right? And her shoulders going up and down and up and down and up and down. I didn't hear her call out, but when the judge came to admonish her after the jury was out, he implied through his admonishment that she had made a noise or a gesture that was loud. But I didn't see that fresh. So,
I didn't see that either. I didn't see the camera obviously wasn't on her.
She might have, yeah, the camera probably wasn't on her. But her shoulders were moving around for sure. She was moving around.
So let's get to that.
I think it was all fake, but.
Oh, yeah, let's get to that admonishment, which is something I've never seen Judge Everett do. He's a pretty laid back judge. Here's the admonishment. And this came after the jury left for lunch.
Before we go on the recess break this afternoon, I do believe this merits a small bit of discussion on the topic. The matters that we've discussed at sidebar concerning emotional responses, I do feel it is important at this point. Mrs. Adelson, when the testimony is occurring or the evidence, I know you may have a natural reaction, but as best possible, you need to control your reactions concerning any head movements, any expressions of disagreement, or any emotional outbursts. The jury must decide this matter on the merits, on the evidence. Do you understand this? Very well. I do not.
She didn't even say anything. I mean, just sort of nodding her head, and she's still in character. Yeah, I can't talk. I'm too emotionally upset. Judge, it was just too emotionally upsetting. This man that I hated, this man I called a jerk. I can't take it. I mean, what a nonsense move on Donna's part. I'm surprised she got called out so early on it, though. He shut it down very early on. He's keeping good control over his courtroom, I think, Judge Everett. What are your opinions on Judge Everett?
I only missed one hearing since Donna was arrested, and it was a very brief hearing. And every time that during this last year and a half, or almost 2 years now, when she was arrested and she's gotten like this, or called out or disagreed with something someone said, he's had to do this. So it's not his first time with her.
Let's think. I'm thinking when he
don't.
What other time did he do this? He did it with, well, there was that one with the first one with their first lawyer, Marcella Descalzo.
Yeah,
right?
there were a couple of times when I call him Zelford now, like it's Benifer. But when Zelford took over, that he had to tell her. It may not have been on camera, I don't know, but he had to tell her.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember Maricel Descalzo was talking, and it's the famous shot we have of her with her mouth open that I've used 1,000 times in videos. So pretty I'm glad he's calling it out now, but obviously her game plan was, we heard, what did you think of the opening statement? We heard in opening statements that she loved Dan Markel and how wonderful Dan Markel was from her lawyer, Jackie Fulford. What did you think of Jackie Fulford's opening statement?
Well, the entire gallery has heard all of this before, from one trial to another, whether they're in the public or they were reporting for a YouTube podcast, which there's quite a few of us, or they were family. And it went so flat. I can't. Everybody was talking about in the hallway during that first break, talking about, she's called him Danny. Now, Daniel Rashbaum did it too, as I recall. I'm 99% sure at some point he called him Danny. But when she does it, it just was, she's off-putting to begin with. So I think it may be a sexist thing for me to say it, but she's just very off-putting. When she did it, and she kind of did it, well, unfortunately, he was shot. That was the statement she made. Unfortunately, he was murdered. Unfortunately. And it just landed flat. Just horrible.
She raised all my red flags for a seriously dangerous person. I had a very strong emotional reaction to her. Yes. And I would not, she would have lost all credibility with me if I were a juror, and that I would have a hard time resetting and trying to listen to her, because that opening was something. I thought it was so callous, so cruel. I mean, here she is talking about Danny Markel, his friends and family. And then she makes a slip up and says, my audience caught this. I didn't catch this first time around. She says, I didn't mean any respect by calling him Danny. She meant disrespect. but from the heart, what is that phrase? You say what you mean. You say what you mean. You mean what you say often in these slip ups. I mean, it was a Freudian slip of the truest kind. Here she is insulting the Markel parents, saying his friends and family called them Danny, and me, who's trying to get one of his murderers off. I'm going to call him Danny too. I'm going to take the victim moniker and the justice moniker, which is something I talk about a lot on my channel, but I found it revolting and not effective. At least I remember Rashbaum. You sat through Rashbaum's opening. It wasn't great either, but I remember him saying Dan Markel was a great legal mind, blah, blah, blah. And it was kind of a somber. This was a kind of fake, kind of upbeat, folksy, trying to emulate feeling. It was a big fail for me. What else are you seeing in the courtroom?
Jackie has a lip. Jackie has a lip that mimics Donna's lip, which is also fake, because I watched her in two or three hearings ago when we were in the smaller courtroom, and I mentioned it on Patty's Playhouse, and she walks right in front of me because I'm as close to her as I can be, just probably irritate her. But she's walking across in shackles, and I said to the girl next to me, the reporter, I said, she forgot to limp. She forgot to limp. And then now all of a sudden, the afternoon before the trial starts, according to Jackie, which she told the lady who sits next to me, Jackie hurt her calf muscle in the parking garage. Really? Parking garage. So she's like really close to the ground. How would she have done that? Like, she's really short, really, really short. She's a tiny woman. She may be 85 pounds on a good day. And she hurt her calf muscle getting into your Honda? Like, how? So it's literally the same side, everything as Donna. And she took her regular desk chair seat and has replaced it with a heavy wooden seat, just like Donna.
Odd. And she seems to be on her phone constantly.
See, I can't.
What's up with that? Oh yeah, you can't see that. So what are you? Who's in the audience? Who's in the gallery?
So on my side, so I'm sitting on Harvey's side because in the first couple days was jury selection. So in that larger, longer area, the jury sat before we did. And it's crowded. There's not, as of Friday, there was not a vacant seat available, really. That's why they opened up the two front rows with Harvey. So in front of 2 rows in front of me, first row, Harvey only. Some guy walked in, tried to sit next to him before they opened up the seat, and he said no. Just like that, no. Vacant seat there, and then our row, and I have Rebecca, who's a follower of yours and mine, Rebecca Ross. I'll explain that. And then me, and then Chucha, and she works for 2020, and then John Steinbeck was over to the left as well. And then behind us, it just depends. There's Matt Hoffman, who's with WCTV, Maya Sargent, who is with WTXL. The very back row is all Court TV and Long Crime people because they're running the equipment. So the pool is coming from Court TV this time. On the right side in the first row, the only person I've seen sit is the pool photographer, and her name's Alicia Devine. And she was the one, not other people. She is the one who took the photo of Wendy Adelson and Morgan Honeycutt turned to their right on the bench. So I've seen it out with other people's logos on it. She took that photo. She's fabulous. I love her. I can't say enough about her, what an amazing photographer she is. Look at that. Like, that is a great photo. And that is Alicia Devine. Then behind that is the Markel family. It is the victim advocate on the far right. And then it is Ruth Markel. It's been Shelley and Phil during the autopsy photos. Of course, Ruth, I call her Ms. Markel out of respect. I don't know her personally. Ruth Markel walks out. I have met her, but I don't know her. So she goes out whenever the forensics, any of that, it's 4 times. She's not listening to it. And then Shelley looks down, like she's completely head down. And then Phil. And he looks up and he doesn't look away. The whole video where he's walking, where Dan Markel's walking into premiere, walking out of premiere, signing into premiere. Phil is looking and Shelley is looking down. Then behind them is just public. You know, there's a lot of public. When Tim Jansen comes in, he usually sits in the very back. I have to think of who else was there that was. There are attorneys for Charlie. There's a blonde. It isn't the one we thought. There was a big girl in the hallway photo with Wendy and Harvey's kind of turning away from them, and Morgan Honeycutt and her nappy heads there. That woman is not the one who works for the appellate. It is she has longer hair. Her name is Laurel, and she's the one who works for Charlie's attorney, and she is in the courtroom. I believe John Lauro has people in the courtroom. There's one girl that leeches on to every defense attorney that's been on any of these cases. She's like 19 years old. She's in the courtroom and she just follows the defense attorneys around because that's what she wants to be. What else? Who else? And then there's just members of the public, varying ages. So it's an interesting mix.
And how do you think this is a different trial in feel, in any kind of difference that you see from Charlie's trial, or is it different than Charlie's trial?
Oh, it feels very different inside. I think people are more resolute that she'll be found guilty immediately. I even think with Charlie, there were times I just wasn't sure. Like I knew what I thought, and I saw the jury, but you just didn't know. I don't think that now. I really don't. So you can see in this photo all the people with headphones. That's court TV. The woman who's sitting next to me, that's Chucha Barber. She works for 2020, and she's a writer. So she's not looking at any chat. She's literally writing a Word doc. Rebecca Ross is to my right. There's a lot of bailiffs in the room. Good Benny.
What do you mean you don't think
this time than they were the Charlie's case? They've actually been a lot more pleasant to us.
Are you more confident that she's going to be convicted, or do you mean you don't know if she's going to be convicted?
Oh, no, I'm 100% resolute she will be convicted. That opening for every video I've watched, which I don't have so much time in my workday to watch a lot of other videos, but this weekend I have been watching podcasts I've never even heard of talk about that opening statement. And Jackie Fulford's, I'm really old-fashioned. I use a foam board. Come on. Like, put some effort behind it. And I talked about it late last night. It was on till midnight. It's a salesman show right here. One person has to sell to the jury, and then the other person sells to the jury, and she's not even trying. It's right.
It's just all sympathy.
With her body in front of the foam board. She doesn't even know how to use foam board or an easel. It's bad.
Right. I mean, it just with all of Donna's money, she couldn't hire someone to do exhibits. I mean, there's people who do nothing but court exhibits. Hire someone to do court. If you can't do a PowerPoint presentation, hire someone who can. Donna's got a ton of money sitting there. I get it that she's cheap. I get it that she's probably going to put most of her money in the appeal process. Sounds like that's what she's trying to do. I don't know. I think these defendants are always hopeful, but it seems like what they think that they have is jury manipulation.
It's not even good at it. I mean, it's one thing to
lamp. I'll say I'm old. I can't use we're the underdogs. We're the underdogs. We don't have the fancy things. We're the underdogs. This is just an individual up against the huge power of the state. The irony of that is that most of the time, these defenses cost much more than the state put together with these famous, with these high profile trials. I don't know what Donna paid for her defense. Do you have any idea?
There's $1 million into it. She's got that. I didn't know it was a woman. I had no idea. This Lilia Dandadrake is her name. I believe that's her last name. She was the jury consultant. I was like, huh? I thought it was the real pretty paralegal with around glasses. She was a jury consultant. She barely knew how to get around the courtroom. You should have seen it. I was like, no way is she the jury consultant. And I was wrong.
Well, we know that that's a fraudulent. I mean, that's in my view, it's a fraudulent field. It's a lot of junk science. I think occasionally, if they can get something right, that's what these guilty defendants count on. I mean, we heard in the useful thing of that long documentary, The Staircase, is you see all this money being put in Michael Peterson's case, being put in North Carolina, being put into his defense, and he's getting acting classes, how to act for his. You'd be curious to know if Donna got something like that. If she's serious about testifying, her lawyer said she is. Who knows if she'll go through with it?
But
Michael Peterson got acting classes. They got mock juries looking at evidence. You know, we don't know what she's put her money, but the lawyer sells Michael Peterson on it. If you can find one thing that might save you from a conviction, then it's a couple $100,000 well spent. And this was back in the early 2000s. So there you go.
I don't even remember that jury consultant going back in the room when they were doing individual jury questions the first day. I don't remember it, and in the photos, I don't see her in the photos unless she was sitting in the corner. She's a big girl. You're not gonna miss her. So she just sat off directly. But they have two very young paralegals. You mean a paralegal that age range? One girl looks like 24, 25. Can't do a PowerPoint. I couldn't get out of Tallahassee State College without showing I could do a PowerPoint. So I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. But
I can't do a PowerPoint. I have no ability on PowerPoint. It always eluded me, but I'm sure I could do it if I put my mind to it. I'm sure I could learn it if I put my mind to it.
To graduate, I had to write a resume. I couldn't graduate unless I did a resume, and you had to do a resume on a slide as well as a Word doc. And that's 2025, right? So 2024. But these two girls know how to do a PowerPoint. And then she stood in front of it. And then she was wrong. She called him daddy. The Markel boys didn't call him daddy. They called him Abba. And we all knew it. Everybody around was like,
that's right.
She's like, they said daddy, daddy. No, dad. Abba.
I'm getting some feedback. Do you have the show turned up?
Yeah,
Getting like a delay. Yeah. Yeah, I thought all of it was wrong and just not on target. How about let's talk about Donna's script writing. Hold on one second. I recorded it for. This was shown in a slide for the. Here we go. For the prosecution in their opening, Donna's script that she was writing for her jailmates to give favorable testimony for her in exchange for veneers, prescription drugs, what else? Property and money. Here's Donna's script that she wrote. Take a listen.
115 as well. I believe we have 3 other witnesses that we can possibly get through this afternoon.
Mic check, Roberta strides through the static haze. True crime Gotham where the shadows play their plays.
Okay, here it is. Question, why did you speak to her? I know I had information about Kay from the many times I had been with her in jail. Question, what did you tell her? I told her that Kay said she told Charlie on the night of the murder that some friends of hers went to Tallahassee and killed him. She asked him to give her the $350,000 that he was going to pay so his sister could relocate with her children. So his sister to them, he went crazy on. I think that last word that I couldn't read as to them is so she could relocate to Miami. And I'm now uncertain if it's I approached Donna or apprehended Donna. It's very hard to read, so I may be wrong in a few words here. I'm reading off of that on her. He said, and that's where it ends. Terrible.
Oh my God.
That's Donna's terrible script writing. What would you think if that actually, if a jailmate actually came and I think this was written for Dorina Bernhardt to read. What would you think? She testified with that dialogue.
According to Joe Patuto, is that better? I turned everything down. Is that better, Roberta? Okay. So according to Joe Patuto, I tried to find out who it was, but she says there is a script, an handwriting expert on the state witness list, but I can't figure out who it is. So.
Oh, I've looked at her as I'll tell you who it is. I can go back to my old show. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I looked at her. Yeah, it's on the state witness list. I can tell. Actually, I can pull it up in a second and I'll tell you exactly who it is.
So
Pippa, thanks so much.
Which I think it will come in. She's dead.
I know. You saw it on the screen there. That's the actual script in Donna's handwriting. And it's hard to read from here because obviously I'm reading from projection, but I'm sure it's easier to read. Scott Michael says, can we address the size of Fulford blazer jacket? It was 5 times too big for her. Yeah, my problem though is not with her jacket or her looks. My problem is with her personality and her actions is really my issue with Jackie Fulford. I'm no beauty queen myself. I'm certainly not a fashionista. So I'm in no position to criticize other people's dress or clothes or looks. But that woman is a monster. I mean, that's a monster. As far as behavior, what she did in opening, I can't believe the kind of person who would give that kind of opening and say, I like to call him Daddy. I'm representing in front of his grieving parents who flew here to spend supposed to be the best years of their lives in one murder trial after another for the son that they loved. I'm going to call him Danny. I'm going to join you while I'm trying to get it. I'm going to join you, meaning the victim's parents. I'm one of them, jury. I'm just like Ruth Markel here. I like to call him Danny. Disgusting. And then she seems to really like to get into the gory details. She seems to really enjoy digging into the gory details of the murder and the defensive wounds that he got before putting up his hands when he was being shot in his car. I mean, I was blown away, Scott Michael, blown away. Thank you very much. But I was blown away by that opening. I had such a strong emotional reaction to it. I couldn't wait for it to be finished. And I'm glad I wasn't in the courtroom. I thought Patty has a great lot of control. I was surprised to hear that as many people had a awful reaction to it. Patty's been listening to, we're all over the spectrum as far as our feelings about true crime, our feeling about victims and defendants. But apparently everybody agrees that opening was awful. Am I out of line here, Patty? Your thoughts?
Well, someone asked, did I say the snitch is unalive? No. I said Donna is dead meat if that gets in. And it looks like it will get in because it was in their opening statement. So why wouldn't it get in? There is some motion in limine from the original hearings, but my guess is it's coming in. It's definitely coming in. That is damning. You're suborning perjury. You are lying yourself. You are bribing people. Come on, ladies. Come on. These people only know how to pay people to get anyone to like them. And I said it yesterday, and it dawned on me Friday. The only people shaking Harvey's hands were people he pays. That's it. No one else.
Chilling, really chilling, because that's what they put all their money in. Really, I mean, all their that's their values. Money, it's the wrong values. Money, your social standing means everything. That's the values that they grew there. And winning means everything. Winning is everything for the Adelson family. They have to win. And this is why they couldn't negotiate with Dan Markel. To give up any little thing would be to lose. And they could not lose in any little way. So negotiating with Dan Markel was out. They had to just get 100% their way. And I'm sure Wendy, I mean, you look at those emails, Wendy was brought up the same way. I mean, I don't know.
I sat behind them and I was telling the person next to me, I was like, it's so hard to believe they're millionaires. Like, they just act like such white trash that it's just really hard to believe they're millionaires. Really is. He is psycho. Like, there's nothing about him that I find redeeming in any way. The beginning, when it was Catherine Magbanua and Sigfredo, and then just Catherine, you thought, well, he probably didn't know too much. No. He knows everything. He has such a chip on his shoulder when he walks around that he knows everything, and he's ready to flash his rage at any moment. He's done.
I'm looking at this list and I can't even remember her name off the top of my head looking at it. So I'll get back to you. I'll go back to you.
I didn't see anybody. Maybe someone else knows who it is. So
if someone knows, I went back into her background, even pulling up articles, and that'll tell you where my memory's at. Terrible right now. Terrible. I pulled up articles about her, talked about her on a different show, and now I can't even remember her name. Scott Michael says it's like Fulford came out of retirement to put Donna in prison. Buddy, she is disheveled, unprepared. I got the same feeling, Scott Michael. Did you, Patty? I thought she had put together that opening. It sounded like she put it together an hour before trial.
I wouldn't sell a house like she did. Like, I wouldn't dress like she dressed. And I know it's so funny to me how you described it. You're like, I'm not putting her down for her clothing. I'm putting her down for her character. It's just, like, clothing for me was like the first thing. Like, her sleeves were hanging. Her shirt is completely like she got it wadded out of the laundry basket. Her hair is in her face. No one can see her face when she's talking to them. She just is a mess. And then Zellman, he has no charm, like not even an ounce of charm with that jury. If you're trying to persuade someone to save their basic life, she's 75. In my guess, she probably lived about 88, somewhere in there. Her mother lived a very long time. Then you're not doing it. He's just not charming. He's not kind. He's not kind in front of them. He's sarcastic in front of the jury is a great way, I think, to say it. He's kind of cutting. He's like, he brings up the Jewish question. And I keep going back to, he basically said, so which one of you are a bigot?
Right. I was surprised by what they answered. I thought people would say Woody Allen, Barbara Streisand, delicious food, sandwiches. I don't know, something. Isn't there some Jews in Tallahassee? Isn't there a Jewish community in Tallahassee?
Oh, yeah, we have a few temples here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not completely, I know we're a tiny percentage of the population, but it's not, okay. She's disheveled, unprepared, can't recall names. I felt like joining in when he says, what do you think of when you think of Jews? I was like, oh, I felt like I wanted to raise my hand at home. Anybody? Woody Allen? I mean, I'm not a fan of Woody Allen in his personal life, or his alleged crimes, but we have some very famous Jerry Seinfeld. How about that? There's a very famous Jewish show. Larry David. I don't know anything. I was surprised. She is disheveled. I'm just surprised nobody talked about any of the real cultural things that have made an imprint on our society.
Garcia. More than once she called Louis Rivera Garcia.
Twice by my count, but you're right. It may have been more than that. She's disheveled, and he had to correct her. I thought he was saying, call me Mr. Rivera. Rivera. But what he was saying, call me. I had to watch it again. It's amazing how much you miss for at least first time, first day, first time. Obviously, I'm a little tired. I missed a lot first day, first time around. I had to watch a lot of stuff again. She's disheveled, unprepared, can't recall names. She called Donna Donald. I pointed that out, Scott Michael. We're on the same wavelength. As a high-priced attorney, you don't expect this. Yeah, you don't. True crime wifey says, thank you, Roberta and Patty. Well, Patty's doing is actually in the courtroom, which is lot tougher, I think. A lot tougher reporting. That takes a lot more patience. Yeah, yeah, it is.
It was very hard to me. I was very tired at the end of the day. Very, very tired.
You get out of court and you feel like your head is going to explode. That's how, because you're concentrating so hard. I mean, this is a little different than the cases I reported on because they weren't on TV. So if you missed something, you ran to the other journalists. There's no like, oh, I'll watch the tape when I get home. So when I came home from some of those trials that I did in New York, I felt like, but still, it's uncomfortable. You're concentrating. The stress of it. It's hard to explain. It's real hard work reporting from the courtroom. Appreciate you being in there, Patty.
And how hard it was. It was hard to watch. How shall I say it? So it's hard to watch the Markells go through it again. I was in Charlie's and I was just the public then. It was hard. It's hard to watch them. It's hard to, you think, I'm on camera a lot. Everyone's on camera in that courtroom, really. There's very few people who get out of the camera angle nowadays. The cameras are different. They're wider and larger than when Charlie was on. And I'm on camera all the time, but it's not my son. And you're just thinking, my emotions may be showing, and I really try to control that. But everything they do, like we're talking about, Shelley's looking down. Ms. Markell gets up and walks out. Phil had lunch. They took their lunch out. Like all of that little stuff that goes on is analyzed. Like, are they okay? Are they not okay? It's a lot. And then Harvey is sitting there. He rarely moves on that bench. I move everywhere. My hips don't lie. But he is just sitting immobile on that bench. He might look up at the screen and then look back down to her, but he doesn't move. He is not moving. He's wearing the same hocus.
You're right.
On, but he doesn't move. And I'm watching Harvey. That's what I've been doing.
It's like an emotion, like you're in an emotional pressure box. That's the way I describe a courtroom in this kind of trial. And the other thing is that Ruth Markell writes, it's one of the more fascinating parts of her books is she writes about how she really had to learn how to be on camera and how to be an advocate for her son. And she talks about, I can't remember exactly what she calls it, but like a murder trial teacher or something like that. But she said she basically had to learn how to present well on camera and how to comport herself in the best way that could represent her son, because what you are as an advocate and as a murder victims' family members, you are the voice of your murdered son or murdered loved one, and it's important for that to get across and for the victim to be present in the courtroom.
Well, without them,
I mean, we just watched
without Phil and Ruth being on the news and going on all the podcasts and having the documentaries written about them. Oh yeah, Dateline's in there. The senior producer from Dateline, Dennis Murphy's in there. His wife is with him, but she isn't in the courtroom. So I don't know if they have her in the office somewhere, but she's there. If without them keeping it alive, and I go back to the Crystal Rogers case, which was my first one, Sherry Ballard, has just single-handedly kept that alive, really, to get her daughter's murderers incarcerated. So, but you have to do that.
That finally just happened.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by that verdict? Those two verdicts in that case?
Like a minute. They were back there for like less than Charlie's. I think it was like a half or an hour or so less than Charlie's. And then that moron got on the phone and started saying, "Sell all my properties." It's like, so stupid. People are so stupid.
After conviction, you mean, or after the murder?
Yeah, after the conviction, he got on the phone like within a day or two. Called his mother, his sister, Nick, who should be arrested any day now. All of these people saying he has like 200 properties. Sell my properties. They're going to take everything. Called New Crystal. I call her New Crystal. It's the second Crystal. She's the girlfriend. So she can get a ton of weight from this. But like it's the same thing. Like Donna they cannot stop themselves. They're writing and talking. And the beautiful thing about the Markells is they've let it happen. They're not stopping their enemies from killing themselves off. They just keep letting it happen. And I think it's a great lesson in seeking revenge. Sometimes being quiet, just telling your son's story is enough.
Right. I think it's important that in high profile trials to get out and if you're in good enough shape. Often these victims' family members are not in good enough shape they're in no emotional shape. They're too distressed to give interviews. But if you have the strength, I always say it's good to get out in front and be an advocate for the murder victim. That's my view. Scott Michael says the Donna Adelson trial is basically a family reunion, except this time nobody's leaving early because they're all getting the same return trip, state prison. Interesting view there. Patty, do you think Wendy's going to be arrested? And where are Wendy's sons? And why?
Well, Wendy's sons are not.
And why do you think Harvey came? Why do you think? I guess I've asked you this before, but I guess I'll ask you again. You can give me the same answer if you want. But why did Harvey come to this trial and not to Charlie's?
Yeah, you asked me the other day because I think he loves Donna more than Charlie. And you can tell they truly love each other. Maybe in sin and be evil together, but they love each other. It is oddly sinister how they look at each other, but they really love each other. Harvey's not much for this world when she's convicted. He's thin. He's really lost a lot of weight. And he's short. I think some people thought he was like 6 foot. I'm taller than Harvey.
That was bizarre that when you mentioned that. Also, what do you think of Josh Zellman's technique to go after Georgia Kappelman on issues of not laying foundation? He seemed to get all of those objections sustained. It seemed to work. It seemed to throw Georgia Kappelman a little bit off of her stride. Do you think that this is his technique for the entire trial? Do you think it's effective?
What other option does he have? So it started out in the beginning, like the judge wanted the voir dire done and the voir dire done, and he was literally, this was him. I had my notepad. Just slowly turning the page. I'm going to get done in the next hour, but it's an hour and a half. I mean, that's all he has is killing time. As far as those motions were concerned, they really did go over those in the previous situation. But then I guess he thought of a new objection. Now the judge, it made the last objection he gave where the judge cleared the courtroom again, it made Josh Zellman flinch. Like he went up in the air when the judge was like, he said objection and the judge went at him and he lifted his arms up from the back. You could tell he knew he was on a fine line there. And then she just needed to go get the documents and she brought the documents in. After that break, they had somebody go get the whatever foundation needed to be laid between this email and that email. They brought it in. So I think she'll be okay. Georgia's, you see it even now. I'll watch someone else's podcast in the chat. Like, I thought Georgia would be a lot this, or Sarah Catherine would be this. I'm like, dude, you got to have some faith and trust in the process on that side. That's first. But he has no choice but to throw objections. And judge is getting very upset because of the jurors' time. So I don't know how much he'll get away with it, but they'll keep bringing it up. They have nothing else. How can you debate when you have your client's handwritten letter on a screen up front in the first hour?
Unreal, right? And what did you think of Jackie Fulford's complaint that the state's notebooks were, or what do you call them? 3-ring binders were in terrible order. What did you think about that complaint?
She has been like that since the beginning. She's talked about it in the pretrial hearings where we got a thumb drive and that thumb drive was disorganized. So organize it. You're going to change the order of the evidence for your thing. Their openings, what was it? Josh Zellman first opening, or no, Josh Zellman talking to Louis Rivera. Who did he speak to? Was it Craig Isom, Louis Rivera? Craig Isom. He was talking to Craig Isom. He brought up the Geek Squad. How's a jury going to know what the Geek Squad's about?
Right. Good point. Good point.
He brought up, did you check the accident records on 95? Why would they have checked the accident records? There was no introduction to the question that, why are you asking it? He said, are toll roads. Isom said there are no toll roads on 95. It just is, if you think like a thumb drive or something or a binder given in an email is disjointed, for the state's side, it wouldn't be disjointed. You have to move the paper, Jackie, for the defense side so you can look through it how you want to look through it. She presented that evidence from day one to the defense the same way she did it for every other trial. But you don't like the order it's in because you're old-fashioned and don't know how to do a word search on a thumb drive. That's what that comes down to.
Right. How do you do a word search on a thumb drive? I think actually I do know that. I do know that.
Computer and you open up the file and you do Control F and look.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I love that Control F.
And I'm like typing as I'm doing it, like I'm showing you.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, though. I was like, wait, how do you do that? I was like, wait, is that another Control F? I use Control F all the time. Search for very handy. See, we're giving out computer tips and true crime reporting. What?
She's lazy. Let's put it that way. That's how she's lazy. She made a foam board.
Does anyone have any other questions? I mean, I've been, or anything else you want to talk about, Patty? I'm going to keep it probably pretty short for today. I know I love keeping you on for hours and hours.
I mean, I love the Abba thing. That's what they called him, was Abba, not Daddy. You have to recall that Donna did not willingly give permission for those boys to get on Skype with their dad. Jackie Fulford implied like she kept them on. No, it was a court order. It had to be a court order for those boys to be on Skype with their dad. It wasn't, hey, here's Granny giving you the kids. The other thing I mentioned on my show.
Great point, because that was a big part of the opening, was that Skype thing, because Skype I remembered it from Phil Markel talked about having those Skype dinners with Dan Markel in his victim impact statement. Yeah. So,
what did you think of? I have questions for you. What did you think of Donna Adelson's, the first photo the defense showed with the popsicle being held by the little boy's hand?
I didn't see it, honestly. I missed it. I have to go back and look at it.
Go back and look at it. They show that really gleaming photo, gleaming white teeth, which are gone, by the way. She no longer has white teeth. And she's laying down like at the beach, and there's a little teeny tiny hand with the yellow popsicle.
What did you think of that?
I thought it was trash. I think everything they do is trash. But I think it was it doesn't show her. If you're trying to show her as the fun-loving grandma, that wasn't it. It looked like it was like a singles photo. It was very odd.
Leslie B has a question. Are they allowing any mention of the grandparents' alienation, or is it not allowed in this trial?
It is allowed in this trial, according to pretrial. It is allowed. And so is they wanted to talk about Wendy's book. That ended up being allowed. They wanted to talk about the visitation. That ended up being allowed. They wanted to talk about them being wealthy. That's allowed, but you can't just say, hey, you're wealthy. You have to kind of imply or go around it. And if money comes up, then money comes up. So there's a lot of like ring around the rosy stuff, I guess I would say about this. But showing that photo of her 14 years ago, freewheeling and fancy free with a popsicle, while then one of the next, within the hour, is a photo of a man's head blown up. That's tough. And so I just don't think, again, it was the smartest thing they could have done. They don't need to show
of course, because I do have something to say about it. I find it odd, for one thing, because as a writer's daughter, I'm particularly, I hone in on language. Do you remember when Donna went in to preserve the testimony of two snitches, Brittany Purcell and Cassidy Conroy? And one of the things that she said, they had knowledge about Katie setting up the Adelson family, LOL. This is like, I think these are originally Donna's first two marks before she settled on Dorena Bernhardt and Patricia Bird. But she said that had her plan worked, she would not be where she is. She would be sitting pretty in Hawaii, drinking a fancy drink, almost like on a beach, with a popsicle. That's what it makes me think of. It's like all her fantasies about laying on a beach, right?
That's a very good catch.
If she had made it, she would be on a beach, right? Yeah. So I think we have some. Hold on one second. Okay. Thank you for the super sticker, Alexia. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. True Crime Wifey says, big mistake calling Dan Daddy. It's Abba. Shaking my head. Patty caught that. Scott Michael says, Fulford came to court dressed like an extra in a canceled Law and Order spinoff, wrinkled, clueless, and unprepared. She did seem unprepared. This trial isn't just the end of the Adelsons, it's the end of her legal career. Was she? There's a question for you. Since she got thrown off the bench in Tallahassee as a judge for one thing, having a woman pay back her restitution $1 a month. It was something like $15,000 in restitution. That's off the top of my head. It was in the thousands of dollars. She said this woman could pay it off $1 a month. I mean, it's a very hostile thing to do. It's like if I owed you, Patty, thank God I don't, but if I owed you a couple $1,000 and Jackie Fulford said, you can pay Patty back a penny every month. It's hostile. Mm-hmm. I would die before I paid you all back. And then she said she would not have people working for her in her courtroom that didn't represent,
Sheriff Barbie. Mm-hmm.
You're right. Didn't back the sheriff that she had a blow up picture of. But when she was about to get pulled off, she said she instead resigned due to illness. And we never knew what that illness is. Now we hear stories that she was faking cancer. Do you know if that faking cancer that's what she said when she resigned from the bench? Or did she claim she had an other illness, like some kind of bipolar or something that would make her act in a way
I only heard that
sensible on the bench?
I only heard it from attorney Stephen Webster, who was Dan Markel's last attorney, and he said it on the other podcast, and he flat out said she lied about having cancer. So it's likely that it was likely that situation. I think if he knew of another situation, he would have outed her. immediately. He was very, very upset when he outed her as a cancer faker.
Well, I knew she was a fraudster because she had Benjamin Crump, who is the biggest. He's part of the innocence fraud scam in America. He cleans up in the civil courts. He's a race hustler. He picks up on things that make the paper, whether it's Trayvon Martin or something else, and sues civilly for millions of dollars and sometimes wins on those things. And he wrote a whole letter saying Jackie Fulford's a great judge and, supporting her. So that's
she has a lot of friends.
She was a fraudster.
She has a lot of friends. She's buried a lot of people, literally. She has a lot of friends. People came up to me that I'm not going to name here, but they're like, she was a really good attorney. And they said that she was a really good attorney and she has been our friend for a long time. So this is hard. And I think she was well liked until she wasn't. That's how it goes, though. You just kind of get bad. And I love Sheriff David Harvey. Has only ever been kind to me. He's been very generous. He comes to he hasn't in the last couple of years, but he used to come to my office and ask me questions about real estate. And he's like a real estate tycoon. I'm like, why are you blowing smoke? But he's just a very nice man, and they were very close. There's a street in that county, Wakulla County, and it's Harvey Young, which Fulford's romantic partner. It's the late man was the partner of the funeral home, and Harvey were very, very close. So they're very close family friends. And she was adamant about getting him reelected to the point of she's losing her job. But that's what I'm saying. Like, all of a sudden, if you're faking cancer and all of a sudden you have the same limp, is that not like Munchausen's by proxy kind of thing? Like,
it's very odd. Yeah, I think she's a in my view, she's a full-time fraudster.
Do you think
she knew she was unprepared, so she thought she'd get sympathy from the jury and start limping, or maybe she really hurt herself. Who knows? I haven't followed Jackie Fulford around, and I'm not in her body. So injury is one of those things that it's hard to question. It's a good thing to fake.
Do you think that the paralegals fawning all over Donna will be stopped by the judge, or do you think they'll let that continue?
No, it's got to be stopped. I hope it will be stopped. I mean, this is what I see. I've told you before, Patty, that every time I go to court, when I'm, reporting on a trial, everyone I meet who's a young person who's in school wants to be a defense attorney. I have not met one person yet who wants to be a prosecutor. And it's concerning because we seem to have raised, we have generations raised up on this true crime media where everyone's wrongfully accused, wrongfully convicted. The prosecution, the big power of the state is so awesome and so terrible and so corrupt and so wrong. I mean, I was just watching the Netflix show on Jussie Smollett. Instead of saying, Kimberly Fox is an Open Society Foundation backed prosecutor who has let out more people and more people so that they could sue for the taxpayers' money of for their rightful conviction. They're saying that she's a champion of the underclass and she's gone after corruption while talking about Jussie Smollett and her what she did was she eliminated his conviction right away. She said, she went towards corruption in the Chicago PD, and that she's the first DA who doesn't listen to them. I'm just saying we have generations raised on this kind of media that will look at, my fear is that those people, that it's not an act and that they really think of Donna Adelson as a victim, that they've been indoctrinated into that line of thinking, that everyone on trial for murder or any kind of serious crime is a victim of the state, a victim of a tunnel vision investigation, poor prosecution. So yeah, it concerns me that they're doing it. My hope is, this is my hope is that this is some strategy by the defense and that they told them to do that. But I don't think so. My fear is that they're doing it naturally. And I find that rather scary. You are putting your arms around a woman who cruelly murdered her ex-son-in-law for what? For because so that she could help raise the grandchildren when they're young and cute and moldable to and controllable. It's all about power and control, like every single crime I talk about on this channel is. Scary. Sorry, that was I had to go a long distance to come back, but that's my fear, is that we have the so many of these young people raised on this media and juries. I mean, have you seen every time I turn on, I get a tweet or an X from Court TV or something. It's some other jury acquitting some other accused murderer. I mean, it seems like we're getting more and more acquittals. No, Patty?
Yeah. The other concern I have is that the more heavy set paralegal, the thicker one, she's going back and forth between Harvey and Donna and giving messages. She loves you, Harvey. She loves you. I can hear it.
What do you think the real messages are, though? Honey, can you go and bear, what was it? Go hide my diary. Can you get my diary and burn it before they come to the house? I don't know. What is it? I mean,
how are they going to get veneers? Think about it. How are they really going to get veneers? Like how? Okay, you go do this. Harvey doesn't have. How are you getting the veneers? Who's paying for it?
What is he going to do? A home? I know. I was going to do like a Michael Jackson. Put it in your makeshift dentist office in your bedroom. Is he going to come in and give you those and prescription drugs? Who's going to write those? Can Harvey, as a retired dentist, still write triplicate kind of, schedule? I think someone called them Schedule 3 prescriptions.
Nope.
For, narcotics. Can Harvey do that?
Nope.
Patty?
Nope.
So
my husband's a retired appraiser. He can't write an appraisal. You can't do it.
So what could you? I mean, does she have pill like when she was going to end it all? Does she have a whole collection of narcotics in her house for hard times?
It's like when I go break a tip and they have that drawer full of fingernail tips, like when you get your fingernails
right?
done,
Yeah.
A whole drawer of veneers.
Right? I mean, what's going on? It's hard to imagine. So, all right. Does anybody have any other questions? I'm going to end this soon.
No, I have an early call tomorrow. It's supposed to be Wendy tomorrow. We'll see if Pat Sanford comes in first and then Wendy. So we'll see.
Yeah. What time does it start tomorrow?
9:15, but we're all to be there by 8:45. And I'm going to be there much earlier because it's a Wednesday. It's going to be packed. I'll be lucky to get a seat.
Wait, but aren't you? You're always with the press, aren't you? Don't you have press credentials?
Yeah, only people, they said, first come, first serve is a pool. Now, they are letting the press in first, and we do get more privileges, like on the press. Think about that for 1 second.
I love it. I love seeing you there.
Our phones out to text where the public is not supposed to have their phone out. So that was but it is kind of funny to think about. But I do sit with the press. Very odd for me.
Rob says Wendy arrest.
Not until after this trial.
Do you think Wendy's going to get arrested after this trial?
I think so now. Luis Rivera said it. Who gave the information to Katie? Wendy. Yeah. We'll see you later, Rivera. He was off the stand shortly after that. Set it all up.
Yeah.
That was his job.
I thought he was a hostile witness. Some of my audience disagrees with me. He's
not in person. I think he had a very raspy voice. I think he definitely had a cold, but in person he came off just like he did the others, kind of soft. You know what I mean? He doesn't look like, I didn't want to kill him. He said that. I didn't want to kill him. I didn't want to do that. And he was honest about it. I don't think he came off that way at all. And I'm not a fan of Luis Rivera's like some people are, but I don't think he came off hostile. I saw it in the chats. No, not at all. He was very soft-spoken.
Yeah, it's not allowed. Passing notes is not allowed between the inmate and
It wasn't a note. It wasn't a physical note. It was a message. So if I go whisper in Roberta's ear and then she goes and whispers at someone, she's carrying a message, not a note.
Okay, good to know.
The note
All right, this is what.
Scribble.
So Patty, thanks so much for reporting in the. I mean, I just thought Luis Rivera's his memory got awfully vague in a lot of areas where I thought I questioned. All right. All right. So I will talk. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow in the chat. Thank you for being there and reporting on this. I appreciate it. I know my audience does too.
Thanks,
This has been Pat. Thank you, Pat. If you're just tuning in now, I've been talking with Patty from Patty's Playhouse. Go check out her channel. She is reporting on the case and we're also simulcasting to Patty's channel. She's been reporting on the case from the courtroom. Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow at maybe 8:30, 8:45. I'll be there in the chat. I'll be streaming the trial from my channel. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Donna, what a stitch you're in. You plotted a murder 'cause you wanted to raise your daughter's kid. Tallahassee is just a stop on the way to civilization. Miami is where all the fancy people are. The TV is a Power 5. You can't get away from that. Two-toe, tay-toe, hoo-ho, you know the guy you pay, and you can't get away from that. Oh, Donna, what a stitch you're in. You thought jail was just for the little people, but now you're so blankets with the locked up crew. You're a grandmother in lockdown, and your one-way ride to freedom you blew. What a stitch you're in. Your family are exiled from the social circles you swam in. We all know you never made that banana bread or offered to babysit for Dan, but you'll soon be making license plates and thinking about what could have been. Oh, Donna, you had to plan